If I wanted a gaming laptop, this is how I'd personally want it to be. Powerful enough to game on and practical enough to be used for daily work. This laptop is sitting at a beautiful balance of gaming performance and daily use. Look at that form factor. It is not too thick or bulky. Therefore, it's not too heavy. And aesthetically also, it is easily something you can take to a business meeting or to a workplace and it will fit right in. I think this is a fabulous hybrid machine and you could look at it either ways. So, is it a gaming laptop with daily use capabilities or a daily use laptop with gaming capabilities? Let's find out. So there are actually a lot of variants of the Zephyrus G15. I'm going to leave a link in the description so you can go through all the variants and see which one is better for you. Now, the variant that I have has a 3060 GPU, but there are other variants available with 3070 and 3080 GPUs as well. If you want more details on specifications, you'll get that in the description. But I think performance is primarily driven by these factors that I just talked about. And I think it's superbly spec'd for office work and decently spec'd for 1440p gaming. It's built using a magnesium aluminum lid, and that's a really sturdy combination. It's fairly light for its configuration and just weighs at about 1.9 kilos, which is pretty competitive in this segment. So if you accidentally bump it onto your table or to a wall, or even very minor falls, this is not going to get scratches easily. The dot matrix design is possibly one of the most unique, distinct identifier in this laptop. You also get the ergo lift, which lifts the display at convenient angles, and it's really stable. So, your laptop's not going to move, it's not going to jump up on the table as you open and close it. And it opens up all the way to 180 degrees, giving you more viewing angles than you would need. Also, the kind of material it is, it doesn't get dirty easily. And even if it does, it's so easy to get it off, with just a cleaning solution and a microfiber cloth. In terms of input-output ports, I'm going to list them all down here rather than talk it all out, but the point is, it's got plenty. Obviously, the right side of the laptop is pretty light in terms of ports because that's pretty much where everyone keeps their mouse, so it needs to be free of congestion. And left side is where all the ports are. You've got vents at the back and there's pretty much nothing else. There are also LED for, memory usage and power on off. There's a vent on the left side that obviously spits out hot air, and two at the back and another one on the right side. Moving into the display, you get a 165Hz 15.6 QHD display. And I love the fact that it's a 1440p screen. I think it's a very sweet spot. It's not too high a resolution that may not make sense on a 15-inch display, and it's not too low, in which case you may end up wasting your GPU's power. So yeah, it's extremely apt. The 165Hz refresh rate is pretty good in my opinion, unless you're like a pro or a gaming enthusiast. For most people, 165Hz is just about right. Now, the display does offer 100% DCI-P3 color coverage, which is great if you're into creative production. But you're gonna have to get a color calibrator to really hop onto that train. The visuals right out of the box are actually better calibrated for just gaming. But anything that you do that requires color accuracy, like video editing, photo editing, just illustration work, graphic design, or even watching videos, the colors felt off right out of the box. So definitely use a color calibrator and you'll get it absolutely right. And then you can keep switching between different color modes, when you want to get into gaming versus when you want to do creative work or if you want to watch videos. But in terms of display brightness, I do think it could have done with more of that. It caps at 300 nits, and I would have preferred at least 400 nits. I mean, it just makes it easier for you to take that laptop because it's portable. You want to go outside and sit in the sun sometimes, just change of environment, and you don't want to struggle with visibility, right? So 400 nits is something that I really like, and anything above that is just amazing. It's got a 3 millisecond input lag, which is decent and acceptable for sure. You get adaptive sync, which ensures you get smooth gaming, no tearing, no stuttering, frames are always in sync, so you don't get irritated, and input lag is minimum possible. Now, here's the thing. You don't get an inbuilt webcam. It's just not there. You do get an additional webcam accessory that, for me, came in the box, or you could buy it as an add-on, but it's still something that you'd have to carry and keep in mind. It just sort of clips and connects to the laptop with a micro USB cable. So yeah, it can work. And I think this is the only missing link that keeps it away from being the perfect hybrid machine for work and gaming. Because if you're working, especially today when a lot of people are working remote or are doing classes remotely, yeah, just having that webcam would have solved so many issues. And now you have to keep that in mind that you have to carry something with it. And I do like the flexibility of being able to tilt it all the way and just work on it even while I'm standing so I can look at the display properly. Now let's talk about the keyboard. I love it. It's extremely soft to type on, doesn't make any noise, and has a very discreet effect. Feel free to take this to a meeting, library, classroom, and this is not going to distract anyone around you. And just to give you an idea of how soft the keys are, I compared it to the MacBook Pro keyboard. Here it is. See, that's the difference. I mean, I thought MacBook Pro was an excellent keyboard, but now when I hear this keyboard, it's so good to your ears, right? Yeah, that's the difference. There's also ample area to rest your palms on, and obviously that's because there's too much hardware in here that takes up that space. It also allows Asus to place a big trackpad, which again is not particularly of any use for gamers, but for regular everyday work, it's really useful. There's no RGB lighting, only white backlit keys, and personally I prefer this because I just find it more classy. And when the lighting is not on, the grey colored keys stand out very strongly and looks really nice. I do, however, miss the media buttons to, play, pause, or change tracks. I mean, how often would I use airplane mode or changing the lighting effects on the keyboard over actually playing or pausing audio tracks or skipping them? So yeah, that's probably something that Asus could work on, especially for this laptop, because I don't have those media keys. Now, all these Zephyrus G15s are powered either by the 5800HS or the 5900HS. It's still powerful enough to tackle complex workflows like video editing and video encoding and gaming without dissipating too much heat. See, they've had to limit the power draw on the GPU side so that it doesn't dissipate too much heat. Otherwise, they would have had to increase the size of the chassis to dissipate and manage that heat. So the priority was really to have that compact chassis, and so they reduced the power draw. So you still get gaming performance, maybe not all the way up, but still get a compact chassis. And that's what this laptop is all about. Now, because all of these use Nvidia 3000 series GPUs, you get the perks of using ray tracing in your games. And while I kept ray tracing on Call of Duty, I did get a VRAM warning when I pushed everything to high. So under texture, I had to reduce by just 1 notch to reduce the VRAM usage and get it down to an acceptable level. And again, you've got to keep in mind that this is running RTX 3060, not the 3070, not the 3080. So it did run out of VRAM fairly soon, but in case of 3070 and 3080, that should not be the case. Anyhow, even with texture quality reduced by just 1 notch, I absolutely had a blast while playing. Absolutely no issues, it was a flawless gaming experience, and I absolutely loved it. And honestly, with Call of Duty, I was getting somewhere about 70 to 80 FPS on a 165Hz display. Then I went ahead and started to play Valorant, and I was getting more consistent frame rates of about 150 to 160 FPS, which is closer to the actual peak frame rate of the display, which is 165Hz. And if you're a casual gamer like me, I think this is absolutely fine. Definitely would have enjoyed a slightly higher FPS in Call of Duty. But if you're like a pro gamer, you're like a gaming enthusiast, then of course you should opt for the 3070 or even better the 3080 to get consistent high frame rates. And hey, since all of this is on NVMe M2 SSDs, your read and write speeds are pretty fast, right? The other part is about RAM. So there are 2 modules. One is soldered onto the board and the other is replaceable. So you'll have to swap one RAM for the other to increase all the way up to 24 gigs on this variant and up to 48 gigs on the higher variant. Now, with performance comes heat, and you've got to manage that, and that's where cooling comes into place. Because this is a smaller form factor, naturally, there are lesser opportunities for you to manage airflow. But Asus has tried their best to do that. First thing they did is limit the power draw by CPU and GPU, and that way it doesn't get too hot, and so it's manageable. Now, for the heat that does come out, you've got these vents that spit out that hot air. You've got vents on the sides, on the back, and even towards the top of the keyboard. And that area does become hot. Now listen to this fan noise. And these sides do become quite hot. I mean, unpleasant in a way. But yeah, if you're gaming and you've got all that heat coming out, it's got to get hot. They have liquid metal instead of thermal paste on the CPU. The fans have a self-cleaning module that prevents buildup of dust on the fan blades, and the fan blades are of varying thickness which draw more air. And there are also multiple performance modes that you can manually shift and that way control the performance as well as the noise levels of the fan. All of this is inbuilt right into the machine. Now let me quickly touch upon speakers. So you get two tweeters right in the front, and you've got force cancelling woofers right under the palm rest for acoustic balance, and they all work together to give you that audio experience. In layman terms, if you want to give MacBook Pro speakers a 10, these are probably around 8.59, so pretty good. And yeah, but if you're gaming, you're probably using a gaming headset and this shouldn't matter much to you. But yeah, if you're in a lightly noisy environment, you'd be fine with a YouTube video or some light music. But yeah, they're not gonna fill a room for sure. Okay, let's talk about battery. So I got about 9 hours of non-stop regular or office work done from a 0 to 100. So that's pretty good for me. It's a 90 watt-hour battery, and it charges pretty fast if you use the charger that came in the box. But you don't always have to carry it because it can be a bit bulky, and you can use your regular phone chargers, especially the 65 watt warp charging that OnePlus has. But yeah, it's gonna be charging that slowly. But you have that option. So let's conclude this. Is it a gaming laptop with daily use capabilities or a daily use laptop with gaming capabilities? The answer lies in the configuration or the variant of this laptop that you get. So if you're looking for a daily use laptop with gaming capabilities, that is, gaming is secondary, then I think you get, the variant that has 5800HS AMD with a 3060 GPU. That's pretty damn good spec for daily use work with casual gaming capabilities. But if you're looking for a gaming laptop with daily use capabilities, then make sure you get the higher variant, the one that has 5900HX and 3080 GPU. That would be top tiered for crisp 1440p gaming with high refresh rates. And of course, it can do pretty much everything else in terms of daily use or office work or student work. So yeah, but again, as I said, it really depends on what's primary to you. If it's office work, get the lower variant. If it's gaming, then get the higher variant. It's pretty much as simple as that. All right, that's it on the G15, the Zephyrus G15. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section. And as always, if you like the video, leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification icon. I'll see you guys in the next one.